Hello, and welcome to the Beginner's Python tutorial series. By the end of this series, you'll be able to write your own programs, utilizing variables, operators, functions, input and output, and more. In this tutorial, we will be installing Python and creating our first script, as well as learning some handy shortcuts and tips along the way. If you find this video helpful, make sure to smash like and subscribe, and without further ado, let's get started. The first thing we need to do is make sure Python is installed on our machines. So open a browser window and search for Python. Scroll down and select the downloads link to bring us to the official Python downloads page. And then select download Python 3.9.1. I have already downloaded this file, so I won't save it. If you are watching this video at a later time, the version may have changed, but just select the latest version to download and everything else should be the same. Once the installer finishes downloading, open it up and make sure to check Add Python 3.9 to path. Select Customize Installation, and you can uncheck the documentation as that can be found online. Select Next, and then leave the rest as the default and select Install. To make sure that it has installed properly, open the command prompt, or the terminal if you are on Mac or Linux, and type python --version. When I hit enter, you should see Python 3.9.1 pop up on the screen. If you are using a different version of Python, that version is what will show here. If you are on a Mac or Linux and this doesn't work, try typing Python 3 --version. If that is what works on your machine, whenever I type Python in the terminal, just remember that you will have to type Python 3. To access Python, we can literally just type Python into the terminal and hit enter, and this will open up the interactive Python terminal. This is super useful for testing single lines of code before adding them to a script, or to check what output different functions will return. For now, let's simply type print, and then in quotation marks, hello world. Hit enter, and you'll see hello world printed to the screen. Great, you just executed your first Python command. To write an actual script that you can save and run, we will be using Visual Studio Code. You can use any text editor, even Notepad will work, but VS Code is a great place for beginners to start. If it is not installed on your machine yet, I have included a download link in the description, and while it is downloading, you can follow along in Notepad if you're on Windows, TextEdit if you're on a Mac, or any other text editor of your choice. I will now open Visual Studio Code. Before we write any code, open up the Extensions tab over here and search for Python. Install the first one on the list. You will see that I already have it installed, which will help us to get started with lots of helpful features such as autocomplete, syntax checking, formatting, debugging, and more. With that installed, we can return back to the File Explorer, then create a new file using Ctrl-N, or alternatively File, New File. Inside this file, we will type the same command as before, print, and then in parentheses and quotation marks, hello world. Hit Ctrl-S to save it, and I will call this first Python script.py. Make sure you include the .py at the end, as that is what tells your computer this is a Python script. Change the save as type from plain text to all files, and then select save. Now we can open up the File Explorer and navigate to the folder which we saved our script in. However, you will see that if I double click on the script to run it, a command prompt window opens, then closes immediately. This isn't very helpful for us since we can't see that output, and it happens because the window will open while the file is running, but automatically close once it's done. Our script prints hello world to the terminal, but then it finishes so the window closes. To see the output of this file, we can go back into Visual Studio, right-click on the file in the Explorer, and select Open in Integrated Terminal. This opens a terminal window at the bottom, where we can type Python, followed by the name of our script, so first Python script.py, and now I can hit enter to run it. You will see the output hello world. Instead of typing out the full file name, hitting tab will autocomplete with different file names, so I can type Python and then tab to autocomplete the file name for me. Another shortcut is that using the up and down keys allows you to scroll through your previous commands. So to run the most recent command, I could just type the up arrow and enter. The last important thing that we will cover today is that you must remember to save your file before you run it, or the changes won't show. For example, if I change Hello World to Hello Practical Programming, don't save the script and run it, you'll see that the output still says Hello World. If I go back into the script and hit Ctrl S to save it, when I run it now, you'll see it says Hello Practical Programming. That's it for the first beginner's Python tutorial. In the next one, we'll look at variables and Python's basic data types. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.